Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Kendra. I'm in Washington State and I am so happy to see you here today. I would be even happier if you'd smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't, make a comment if you feel like you want to say anything, ask anything, correct me on anything. I'm not always right. Today is an open collaboration and it's hashtag Mix It Up in the Kitchen at Maniac Grammy's Homestead, and we upload on Saturdays. So I don't have just that to do, but I need to make the cake, I need to make a cold tuna salad, and I need to cut up the watermelon. The heat is a-coming. It'll only be like 82 today, but it's going to be 94 or something by the end of the week. Yuck. Yuck, yuck, yuck. Anyway, I'm going to get busy on that cake and tell you all about it. Let's go. All right, I am going to make a boxed cake today. It's an orange cake. I couldn't find these anywhere in my area in the stores. I had to order this from Amazon. And this is going to be a cake inspired by, is it called a pig pickin' cake, I think. But it's not going to be a pig pickin' cake. This is an orange cake, and pig pickin' cake uses yellow cake mix and some other things that I changed. Okay. So with this cake mix, I'm going to put it here in this bowl. I'm going to add 4 eggs, a 1/4 cup of vegetable oil, and the juice from a can of mandarin oranges with some, where did I put that? Here it is. With some orange extract in, because all that juice is water. And it's got a few bits of the mandarin oranges in it. But I'll do this first part and show you now. I bet you can't see, but this cake mix is just a beautiful shade of creamsicle orange. Here's a white plate and here's the cake mix. Isn't that pretty? So it will turn out orange in the end, I suppose. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and pour in the oil. That's vegetable oil. And the juice along with a teaspoon of orange extract. They're calling it juice, but mine's packed in water, so it's not juice. Right, here's 1 egg of 4. All 4 eggs are in. I'm going to just mix these by hand real quick just to break up the eggs and spread the love, and then I'm going to use the mixer for a minute. All right, I've got the cake mix mixed. It's dripping off the beater, mixer, whatever you call those things, beaters. Now it calls for a can of this orange, and you know there's a little juice left in it just because that's how it is. And since it's supposed to take a whole can, I'm just going to dump it in all. The only thing I did different was I chopped the mandarin oranges into sections because I wanted to spread the love, and I don't know if that made more juice or not, but here we go. Okay, I greased the pan with Pam. I'm using a glass 9x13. The particular inspired by pig pickin' cake is 3 layers, and I'm just not going there. All right, it's in there, and I've got my oven set to 350 degrees. I think it's like 25 minutes. We'll see. I'll poke it with a toothpick, and we'll know for sure. So, in it goes. All right, that cake is in the oven, and we've had a plot twist. I took a can, like the recipe I'll show you that I'm taking apart and doing my own. It calls for a whole big can of pineapple drained, which I did, and I had ready. But then I thought, I'm going for orange here. So I got this jar out of my pantry, and it's Fran's orange marmalade. Now, Fran goes to my mother's church, and she has made this homemade marmalade, and I think it would be delicious in place of the Cool Whip. I mean, the pineapple. You know, pineapple also has a lot of, what is it called? Bromelain that eats dairy and protein. And if there's any in this, I'm afraid the pineapple will get watery and make the Cool Whip watery. Anyway, this will not. Well, no, it won't. So anyway, and it also takes this vanilla, Jell-O, dry, 16 ounces of Cool Whip, and whatever you choose to make. You could use pineapple like I almost did. This could turn out to be a disaster, but I've got to try it. Also, I was just given a peanut butter and jelly sandwich because there was a plot twist on making lunch. All right, after my big long speech about how I was going to use the orange marmalade, my husband and I talked about it. And when I opened the jar, when I picked up the jar, it was sticky. Well, that was okay, I thought, so I wiped it off. When I popped the lid off of it, it didn't make an audible pop. It was sticky. It was stuck to the lid by marmalade. And so when I popped off the round part, the seal wasn't really there. It just kind of stuck in it. Brought up strings of sugary marmalade, which may or may not be fine, but I decided to go ahead and go back with the pineapple instead, in hopes that whoever wrote this recipe has it right, that it won't dissolve, the pineapple won't, dissolve the protein in the Cool Whip or the pudding. So, and it's dry pudding mix. It's not, you don't mix the pudding up, you just put dry pudding in the Cool Whip and add the pineapple, give it a good stir, and you frost a cold cake. The cake is out. I'm letting it cool down. It's not cool enough for me to stick in the fridge for the last part. I'd like to get this done because I'd like to get this out of the way and chop up that watermelon over there before too long. It's 12:10 right now in the afternoon. Here's that recipe, all recipes. That's that, where you go to that and you put in pig pickin' cake. This pig pickin' cake is wonderful, easy to make dessert. 3 layers to get topped with frozen whipped topping and pineapple. So this one doesn't call for any dry pudding mix, but you can bet I'm using it. Yeah, I won't change my mind on that. Cake is cool, and all I have to do is mix that big can of crushed pineapple, a box, a 3.4, I think. Yeah, of vanilla, instant vanilla pudding. All right, and a whole 16 ounce of Cool Whip. I put in all but a little bit, and I'm going to see how it looks first before I decide to add more. All right, I added the rest of this. It's got the pudding, the pineapple, the Cool Whip. I'm assuming it's going to harden just a little bit. Not harden, but stiffen up some when I stick it in the fridge. Okay, onto the cake we go.